Happy holidays, everybody. Happy Wednesday. We are here and let's have some fun. So, today, I definitely want to talk to you about a couple of things that popped up that is pertaining to baby boomers in the housing market. So, that's the game plan. We're going to talk about two articles that I have picked out. And then I posted a question to people that are in my client circle, and I wanted to have some fun with it. And the question that I posted is question of the week, because I want to have fun today. The question of the week is, not yet retired folks, what do you look forward to buying once you are retired? So that's what I posted, and I have a bunch of answers that already came in. So I'm putting it out there to you guys because I would love to hear what you have to say, and then we'll have some fun with it. And of course, what I also want to do, because we are now in our, let's see, I think it's second week, right? Yeah, second week of December. So we have literally we're exactly 2 weeks to Christmas. So today will be the last live that I do before Christmas. And actually, you know what? It's going to be the first is in two Wednesdays from now. So today will be the last live that I do before the end of the year. And I want to talk to you about some other things, kind of like food for thought, on what I think you can do between now and at the end of the year. Some things to ponder, some things to think about and plan for next year. I want to give you some food for thought. I want to give you some homework. My clients always laugh because that's what I do, even though they're like, Olga, we're not in school. But I think you're going to enjoy this one and you're going to have some fun with it. So that is kind of like the game plan for today that I want to do, to have a fun show and fun hour or so that we're going to spend together. So the first article that I want to talk to you about is how the Newsweek just came out with that I want your opinion on, and I want to share with you because it's definitely relative. And it's this one. Boomers now have a new retirement problem. So it just came out yesterday. I want to get your opinion on it, and I want to unpack it and go through and offer you my professional opinion, my suggestions, and just so we can take that information and see what exactly does that mean. So Newsweek says that baby boomers have benefited from skyrocketing housing prices, with millions of homeowners born before 1964 watching their equity rise over recent decades. But now, thanks to a glut of unfavorable conditions in the U.S. housing market, boomers are facing a new retirement problem: affordable and accessible homes in which to age. As a result, boomers are now aging in place in their current home, a trend likely to induce a knock-on effect for younger generations. If you really think about it, it is affecting all the other generations that are coming down in a pipeline. People that are potentially are now looking to move into a bigger home, maybe people that are in their 30s and 40s. A lot of younger folks are starting families, getting married, and buying homes later in life. Some of them are doing in their mid 30s and even 40s, which is going to be kind of like the younger generation. And then some of the other ones are also thinking about maybe downsizing into something else. It's kind of like a trickle effect. It really is a trickle or domino effect because of where baby boomers kind of started it all. So that's why I'm watching this like a hawk and paying attention and seeing what's happening currently in our market, and also talking to other agents in other states like Florida and Texas and California to see what they're seeing. Because I think that as more and more boomers get closer to age 65, which all of them are going to be 65 by the year of 2030, I think we're going to see more of that as a concern, most likely, because here's what I'm hearing on a daily basis as I talk to my clients and my database. Olga, we're going to die in this home. You can help my family carrying me out in the box. And that is kind of the sentiment, because again, we all understand it, that you lived in your home, you're comfortable there, you have so many memories tied to the home, you raised your family, this is what the comfort level is, this is what you know, and this is where you want to be. And I can tell you from my experiences that majority of the folks don't have and don't get that luxury of living in their own home and actually passing away in their homes. Unfortunately, things happen, medical conditions happen, and then decisions need to be made. And this is where we pull in the resources and we get to work. So according to a recent study conducted by Redfin, 78% of the boomers plan to stay in their current home for retirement. Another report found that empty nest boomers take up 28.2% of all large homes, which is 3 bedrooms or more, compared to 14% of millennials, who are much more likely to have their children still living at home. 28% of all large homes is a very big number. If you think about it, it's a third of the overall total housing market. While data isn't available indicating how much of this has changed over recent years, the tradition of downsizing into smaller homes designed with retirement in mind is becoming a distant, if not completely unlikely, prospect for America's aging boomer population. While some may not want to move on from a house they have lived in for years on end, retrofitting existing homes for the sake of accessibility is a costly endeavor, particularly for older Americans living on fixed income. I can tell you, and I think a lot of people don't realize, that quite a few boomers are relying on and living on just Social Security. An average Social Security check is about $1,700. And if you have 2 spouses, typically the woman's Social Security check is going to be less, and the gentleman's Social Security check is going to be more. And a lot of my clients, the conversations that we are having is, okay, we have a fixed income. A lot of our retirement savings really is tied into a house, in our real estate, not in a stock market. What do we do when we're on the fixed income and we have to make sure that the home that they stay in is safe for them to actually age safely in place? And that is the question that I'm having with people every day. This trend is contributing directly to the housing shortage, as billions of homes that would otherwise be available to younger buyers remain occupied. Shortage of accessible homes required for some as they age is scarce, and a slowdown in new homes being built is a major factor. According to a report by CNBC in 2023, less than 5% of the U.S. housing supply is accessible. But the problem is not just restricted to accessible homes. U.S. housing inventory and the speed at which new homes are being built have still not recovered to the levels seen before 2008 financial crash. In January 2006, some 2.2 million new units were started. That dropped to just 490,000 in January of 2009. That is a huge drop. If you think about it, you're talking about 3-year difference. We dropped to quite a big number. And in October 2024, 1.3 million units have been started, still nearly 1 million shy of the 2006 level. The lack of homes for sale is a significant factor in today's high housing prices, which a founder of Home Qualified told is a key reason why boomers want to stay put, despite their homes likely being worth considerably more than what they bought them for. The biggest problem I see facing homeowners today is that they're equity rich, cash poor, and without as many options to fix it because of high interest rate and high home prices. I agree. If you look at the prices with the index going back to 1985 up to 2004, you're talking about going back to 1987. Housing price is $63.96. And where are we right now? You're talking about $322. So That's in the thousands, so $322,000. Yes, the prices have skyrocketed, and it's just, you know what? I've been in this industry, and I've had my real estate practice for the last 15 years. And the increase in pricing that we have seen in the last 3 years, sometimes it's still even hard for me to truly believe just the jumps that have taken place in the last 3 years. That is for sure. Baby boomers are at a stage where they want to move or downsize but cannot because of the lack of homes for sale has driven up prices. And that is combined with the high cost of new homes due to increased interest rates and insurance costs, just keeping them locked in the home with the equity. This is also a major factor in the inventory shortage problem that the market is facing. So, how are we making homes accessible? Again, this is actually a topic that is important to me because these are the conversations that I have with my clients on a regular basis, because we want to make sure that the number one thing is the number one concern, and the challenge is to make sure that the home is safe for you, is fewer stairs, lifts, wider hallways, ramps, and other modifications may come to be a necessity for many Americans as they grow older, especially if you want to stay in your own home. And with them comes significant cost. While the size and the scope of each refitting project is different, according to Thrive Homes, installing a chairlift can cost from $35,000 to $6,000. I can attest that what a lot of people, I think, may not know, but the chair lifts are custom made for the home and the homeowners because there's a variety of steps, there's a variety of materials that are being used. You know, some of the stairs go straight up and they're easy to do because it's just a straight run. But a lot of the times you have curved stairs, so you have to actually create the chairlift for the stairs for that particular home. So actually, you're looking at probably a higher price towards $6,000 for a chair ramp. Concrete ramp can cost up to $500 a foot, and door widening could set you back as much as $2,500. As expensive as they are, home modifications can also be considered unattractive to prospective buyers if the time comes when a move is absolutely necessary, thus potentially pushing down the price of the property. And you know what? I tell people not to worry about it because, as an example, I've had husbands worried about the fact that my suggestion was converting your living room into a primary bedroom so that way you don't have to worry about steps anymore. And I said to the gentleman, I said, you know what? I said, right now, my concern is to make sure that you are living comfortably in your own home. I'm not worried about potential buyers at some point down the road because it's easy to convert the living room back into the living room. It's easy to remove the doors or to take the stuff out. Yet right now the concern is for you just because you're still living in that home. So this is something that I always encourage my clients just to put aside. It is not a worry, but if you think about it, in majority of the homes, the living room is sitting empty, besides maybe once or twice a year where there's a tree that is occupying if you're celebrating Christmas, and if you have a family over and you're hosting. Most of the time, that room, that perfectly good space, usable space, is sitting empty. So why not utilize it for something that may make sense to you, depending on your situation, perhaps your own health concerns. In 2021, National Association of Home Builders did a survey of homebuyer attitude, and 56% of those respondents said that they would not buy a home if it had an elevator installed, which is a necessity for wheelchair using living in multiple floor properties. You know what I can tell you that I think the answer to that is it depends. I think 56% is a high number because these buyers may not understand what that concept is. There are elevators that look so slick and elegant, and they have such a simple construction because I've seen them installed in homes that is super easy to remove because they're not actually built in a home where you open up the door and it's not a closet as you thought it would be. It's an elevator. So I think a lot of people have a misconception what the elevator is because they know what traditional elevators look like. And in many cases, there are companies that actually have elevators that look very, very easy to install, and they are completely different than from what you may think of. Let me pull it up. I'll show you what it looks like because I've seen one in the home, and let me see, so I can give you a good example of what it looks like. It's totally not anything that is what people think it is. Let me see. Here, let me show you what this, one of the companies that I know well is called Stilts Elevators. And if you look at the picture right here, this is what the elevator looks like. It is very slick, very easy to install. I've actually ridden this. I've seen it in the operation, and it's completely different than what people are thinking about. So my suggestion actually is not worried about that, but think about again more as to what it is that we're trying to accomplish. Let me go back to the other slide that I was actually, the other website that I was sharing. But I wanted to show you actually the elevator that I have in mind that I propose to my clients when we're talking about potentially saying, you know what, if the stairway is not an option, then potentially there is room for the elevators. So I would kind of be not paying as much attention to this 56% of respondents because they really probably did not clarify what kind of elevator they were talking about. So other modifications such as wide hallways and step-free entries are considered desirable by the majority of those surveyed. Yes, and that is something actually that I help clients and do it as part of the home safety assessment to make sure that if there's a walker going to be involved and in a wheelchair involved, we have the hallways, we have the space to safely move around. With the knock-on impacts, with boomers choosing to stay in place instead of buying new homes at high prices, younger generations are feeling the effects in an already squeezed housing market. Boomers own the lion's share of the U.S. housing, right? We talked about that they were saying about 30%, and the trend that has broadened since the 2008 financial crash and the ebbing away of their parents in the silent generation. It again expanded during the coronavirus pandemic and aftermath, with Gen X and millennials also widening their share of America's real estate market. Here, this is actually a really good map for you to look at because we talk about boomers and Gen Xers and millennials, and sometimes it's nice to be able to actually put the years of birth in perspective. But you can see how big this generation is, and that is the other thing that somebody made an interesting comment when I was at a holiday party last week, talking about the difference in millions of people in each generation. If you really look at it, the biggest one is the baby boomers. Then we have a little bit of a smaller one, which is the Gen Xers, which is where I am. I'm actually a cusper because I was born in 1977. And then you would have the millennials that are born, and look how small that piece of the puzzle is. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm going to kind of hold my thoughts on that because this was actually mentioned by a mortgage broker that I know really well and I work with. And it really gave me a pause because I thought it was an interesting concept that he was posting. I want to do a little bit more research and digging before I bring it to you so that way we can talk about it and kind of unpack it. Boomers' control over a large share of housing market also has a broad economic effect. Many boomers hold substantial home equity, which has allowed them to leverage their property for wealth or to secure retirement. Younger generations, however, may struggle to build similar wealth through homeownership. As real estate remains increasingly out of reach for younger buyers, the wealth divide between boomers and the subsequent generations may widen, with homeownership becoming an even more significant driver of financial inequality. The result is likely to keep the children, millennials, and Gen Zs in the rental market for longer. It could also put some boomers back in rentals if they cannot find an affordable property to buy with the right home modifications. And this could even further ramifications in the cost of renting. And you know what, too? There's nothing wrong with wanting to sell and freeing up that equity that I am always for protecting and figuring out best ways of using, and then deciding not to take that money and invest in another real estate. There are communities where you can rent that are either age restricted, that are 55 and older, or if you wanted to go into some of these luxury rentals that are popping up all over the country. In our area, they're actually called almost like campus towns, where first floor is full of shops, yoga places, exercise places, spas, coffee shops, nice restaurants. And then you have the apartments that are right above that. So second, third, and fourth floor, or however many floors of the living spaces, are the luxury apartments. And then in the middle of the community, you have the pool and you have some other amenities. And then if you want to, you can go down to the coffee shop and have a coffee and just read. So this is kind of where I see a lot of the builders are moving to, and I applaud them because it creates a sense of community where you can walk to places. You don't have to live in a small town anymore to be able to do that. So I'm curious if this is something that you are actually seeing as a trend in some of the newer rental construction, which is what I am seeing in a lot of the places around here. As more boomers age in place or choose to downsize into more accessible housing options, the rental market may see an uptick in demand for senior-friendly housing. 100%. I really do think that this is coming, especially as we see more boomers getting closer to the age of 65, to the age where they're actually going to look forward to either retirement early or waiting until their normal retirement age. Yet, nevertheless, we have about 5 years until all the boomers are going to be 65. And not everybody's going to want to buy something and live. People are going to want to free up that cash that they have tied in. And for a majority of the people, majority of their savings for the retirement is tied into their primary residence, not in the stock market. Unfortunately, the rate of savings in the stock market is not where most of the financial professionals are advising you to be, and that's just the reality. Millennials and Gen Zs who are already delaying homeownership due to the rising prices may increasingly turn to rentals for longer periods, which this could lead to rising rents, especially in desirable metropolitan areas, as younger people delay purchasing homes, further challenging their ability to save for the down payment. Solutions are in sight. While the federal government has some options on the table to ease housing woes, such as the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Rural Housing Service and special home buying programs offered by the Department of Housing, this associate professor of real estate development says that more needs to be done. One solution is to significantly increase funding, subsidies, tax credits, and or zoning flexibility to allow for the construction of affordable senior housing so that seniors have somewhere affordable to move, given that many only live on Social Security and little else. And you know what? This is where I do hope that people that are smart and best at what they do, which is planning and projecting and forecasting, so we're talking about the economic side as well as the government, they will have to come up with a strategy to offer the subsidies, tax credit, maybe some kind of opportunity zones to help with building affordable senior housing. I think one of the biggest reasons why it is so scarce is because it costs a lot to do new construction and to build, which means that when it's somebody who is a builder and they are in the business of making money by building homes, they just cannot make money if they're trying to build affordable senior housing. Right? That it's just very hard to do. And I have some experience with it because I am closely involved with our local Habitat for Humanity and helping by connecting buyers to the Habitat and to their affordable programs. And they have two levels of programs. So they have one that is low income, and then they also have moderate income. And I can tell you that they struggle with finding land, finding homes that they can then renovate, and then build affordable housing. And they're doing their best. I really do believe that. However, you're talking about building maybe 10, 20 homes a year, right? Because that's all they can find in terms of land, or making some kind of arrangements, or finding something from the local counties and municipalities. And if you think about it, 20 homes a year is just such a small drop in the sea of the need and the demand. So it's something that really needs to be done on a local level, on a state level. But yes, in order for builders to be able to do that, they need to have some kind of incentive, some kind of help to be able to do that. Otherwise, they're going to be losing money. So the solution focuses on the building housing for seniors that is affordable, and assuming that they're willing to move, also attainable. It moves the cost prohibitive nature of moving to housing given their fixed incomes. What was also added is that until we build for all segments of population in terms of income and age, they are bound to be shortages irrespective of market rate and inflation, because the demand for housing tends to be dynamic while the supply of housing is largely static. So that was the first article. I think that it's an ongoing challenge, that I'm not sure when and how we're going to be able to solve it. I'm watching it closely. And in terms of interest rates, right, we're still in the sevens. And I don't really anticipate the rates going down until probably middle of next year, where things are going to calm down. The new government is going to get in place. They're going to unveil their 90-day plan and start making things and talking about things on what they have done in terms of the promises and the things that they talked about on the campaign trail. So we will see. We're going to be monitoring closely. Of course, myself and the lenders watch the rates daily to see how they fluctuate and what's happening. So we're going to see. The next article that I want to share with you is another interesting topic that we are seeing, and I want to make you aware, is this one. This one is actually from Consumer Affairs, and also came out just a couple of days ago. But let's talk about this. In terms of the housing trends, we have a wave of baby boomer home sales that are probably not going to resolve the housing shortage, and why. So here is what the meat of this is. Even before COVID-19, the US housing market has been out of balance, with demand outstripping the supply of single-family homes. The pandemic, with its remote work opportunities, just made it worse. You know what? You can look at it from all different kinds of angles, not just from two sides. It made it worse on some angles, and it made it a million times better, because I think the positive thing is that because people were forced, they were absolutely forced to make changes and to make decisions quickly in order to just get on and move on and still be able to work and live, because that's what you have to do. And it's when we have to make uncomfortable decisions, when we are forced to make those decisions, when we are prepped against the wall, is when the growth happens and we learn lessons. So that's, I think, is a major positive thing that came out of pandemic, where majority of the companies were forced to pivot and figure out how they can keep things moving in the right direction, still have their people employed, and still keep going forward. So yes, there's absolutely a positive side and a negative side. And then there's, I think, a million other sides that we can talk about in terms of what the effects were of the pandemic. So this year, housing inventory finally started to improve. But even with millions of baby boomers downsizing, the homes that are expected to sell in the next few years, in what real estate marketplace Zillow calls a silver tsunami, we talked about that too, won't help that much, because these homes aren't where the young families want to be. Zillow data shows that in 2020, there were approximately 20.9 million empty nest households nationwide. These households consist of residents that are aged 55 and older, who have lived in the same home for over a decade, have no more children at home because the kids moved out and they have their own households, and possess at least 2 extra bedrooms. These figures contrast sharply with 8.1 million families living with non-relatives who likely need their own space. So according to the Zillow researchers, the issue lies in the geographic distribution of these empty nest homes. They are predominantly located in less expensive markets, which are not the preferred destinations for young workers. So here we are. As I always talk about with the real estate, the location is number one key for everything when we're talking about housing. So let's talk about and see. So the first one that is mentioned is Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has the most empty nest homes. Among the 50 largest U.S. metropolitan areas, Pittsburgh leads with the highest share of empty nest household at 22%, followed by Buffalo and Cleveland at 20%. Detroit and St. Louis at 19, and New Orleans at 18. So these cities, except for New Orleans, are already among the top market with affordable homes and have a lower proportion of household heads under the age of 44. At the same time, cities like San Jose, Austin, and Denver, which attract a significant number of millennials and Gen Zers, absolutely, this is where the companies are and this is where the workforce goes, are among the most expensive in the nation, 100%. I can attest because I go to Austin, Texas every year. One of my best friends lives there and works there as another real estate specialist. And we talk about the market on a weekly basis when we talk and say, hey, what's happening? What are you seeing? These areas have a smaller share of empty nest households than the national average, exacerbating the housing affordability challenge. The high demand in these coastal job centers means that an influx of homes from older owners, often referred to as silver tsunami, would have a limited impact on easing affordability pressures. So the next up is the problem with new construction. Zillow's research suggested the key to resolving the housing shortage lies in building more homes. But markets with severe housing shortages often face stringent land use restrictions, which hinder new construction and make it more expensive. So my thoughts on new construction is that I'm seeing new construction still in high tide in Florida. There's new construction that is still happening in Texas. But if you really think about major metropolitan areas, for example, I am in New York City, Philadelphia area, and New Jersey, squeezed right in between, has very few land left. So when we are talking about potentials and opportunities for new construction, it's going to be very expensive. It's going to be small because there's only small plots of land that are still left, or the building is happening somewhere in the South, which is furthest points away from, for the community purposes, for the Philadelphia and New York City areas. So it depends. If there is plenty of land available, but you have no jobs, how are we going to do that? That's my question. Promoting denser construction and removing barriers to homeownership, such as providing credit assistance, down payment help, and closing cost support, could improve access to housing, according to the researchers. Even if we did see silver tsunami, a look at the map tells us it wouldn't really move the needle in terms of solving our housing affordability crunch, according to a Zillow senior economist. These empty nest households are concentrated in more affordable markets where housing is already more accessible, not in the expensive coastal job centers where young workers are moving to and where more homes are more desperately needed. Exactly what I just said, depending on the area. A wave of baby boomer home sales probably won't resolve the housing shortage because Zillow data shows that these homes aren't where the jobs are. That's right. Because as soon as you have job opportunities, then there is demand for the housing because people need to have a place to live. So, well, we'll see. we're going to keep an eye out on things. I can tell you that I am not seeing what Zillow research is talking about here with regards to my area. So we're not seeing it. So we have Pittsburgh, then there's Buffalo, Cleveland, Detroit, and St. Louis, and then New Orleans. Okay. Well, that was that I wanted to share with you. Just a couple of articles in terms of the housing market. Now I want to have some fun, and then we're going to talk for the duration of the time together. I want to talk to you a little bit more and get your thinking towards next year and how to make plans. So the question that I posted earlier, thank you so much for a bunch of comments and answers, is this one. So here is the question that I posted. Question of the week. Not yet retired folks, what do you look forward to buying once you are retired? Now, if you are in your 50s and you're thinking about it, that is fair game. So please add your comments and let us know, what does that look like? What is it that you really look forward to doing and buying once you are retired? And I know you all have some thoughts and ideas, because of all the clients that I have, they want me to dream with them and say, Olga, once I retire, I want to buy myself a Cadillac, or I'm going to buy myself an electric bike, which in my opinion, I think is a little bit better than a Cadillac, because it gets you moving and gets you exercising. All right. So let's see what the answers are. According to Status Quo, I am searching for a quiet, wooded piece of property on or close to a lake. I already have a boat, guitars, and a books. So my next quest is for simple solitude and peace of mind. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. There are quite a few places that have lakes. And you know what, too? Water, calming water, the waves is always something that makes you feel calmer, kind of eases your anxiety. Let me know if I can help you with that, and maybe point you in the right direction, because it's always helpful to have someone who's a professional who can say, hey, here may be some good opportunities for you. Hashtag 1976. I look forward to not buying gas every 4 days for my commute. I look forward to buying an updated wardrobe that doesn't include polo shirts. Yay for that. Absolutely. As you can see, like everybody has their own thing, because to some people, maybe wearing polo shirts is better than maybe having a uniform or wearing suit and tie every day, right? So Sherry G says, I am retiring in 2 weeks. I am looking forward to buying a few cruises for 2025. I love that. I think that's an awesome idea. I love that. So tell us where you're cruising. We've done a few cruises, and there are cruises where you can actually be on the boat for a few months, and they take you everywhere. So I would love to hear, where is it that you are thinking about going? So do let us know. Love that. Love that. Love that. Love that. All right. Wind and fly. Travel in the state and out of state, national parks, river cruises. I want to enjoy and see as much as I can. Absolutely. I agree with you. We love to travel too as a family, because we get to then experience different cultures and have all kinds of different foods and go to museums and just to see how other people live. It's when I'm out showing houses to clients as part of my real estate practice, I absolutely love to see how people live. I really do, because everybody's so different. They have their own customs. They all brought something from their childhood. It's just very interesting to see what hobbies they're interested in, what are they doing in their family, what are they doing with their kids, what kind of movies they like. Like, I love it all. And none of the houses are ever the same. You go into every house and they're all different. So I love that. So yes, yay for travel. Next up is from And For You. I am retiring in about 10 years. I am buying time in other countries. I have traveled a lot, like 28 countries, many in Africa. But as a rule, when I have had time, I have lacked money. And when I've had money, I have lacked time. So I want to go to places and spend months learning languages and cultures. I love that. I also love the fact that you actually counted that you've been to 28 countries. This is actually something that we started doing as well. My daughter, my oldest daughter, who is almost, she is now 20, that's what she's done. All the travel that we did, she's been traveling since she was an infant, and she loves it too because that's how she grew up. We actually counted the countries, and so far we are at 18. So we're doing pretty good as well. And of course, as the gentleman mentioned, months learning languages and cultures. And you know what too, now with the availability of like Airbnb, where you can rent an apartment, you don't have to be in the hotel room, which means that you are going to have your kitchen and your laundry facilities, and you can be in the actual residential neighborhood, so you can truly immerse yourself into the culture. And that's what I love. Freebird112 says, haven't settled on location yet. I'm planning to build a small modular home of about 1,000 square feet in a college town, and will replace my vehicle. There's nothing else that I need. I'm trying hard to get rid of crap. All right, then. You know what, too? When people ask me, where can I retire to and have a nice, robust life and lots of things to do, one of the things that I recommend is college towns. Absolutely. Because with college towns, there is so you have the kids, then you of course have the staff, and then you have the support staff for the campus, and then you also have a bunch of businesses that support the campus. And that is anything from clothing to coffee shops to other food places. There's always something going on. There's always cultural events that are happening. So if you want to be somewhere where you're not going to be bored, yet you also understand that with a college town comes the hustle and the bustle, then those are the places to move to. 100%. What else do we have? Cardiologist 1187 says a Class A RV may buy just before I retire, so I'm ready to go. I love that because you hop in the RV and you can go anywhere you want. You just have to know where the RV parks are, but you get to sleep right there. You have all the conveniences. You have everything with you, right? Like your whole house is on wheels that travels with you. So I love that. Actually, one of the colleagues that I know, they own a pet-friendly RV park. I want to say I think it's in Kentucky or Tennessee. And they always have fun with it. And actually for the holidays that they're there, and they have different events and activities. So that is just something interesting that popped in my mind when you were talking about an RV. SmartButt 88 says saw stop table. Okay, so I can get to improve my woodworking skills without acquiring the nickname Stumpy. Okay, also new tires for the Caterham. I'm not sure what a Caterham is. Anybody knows what that is? Let me look that up. Caterham. Caterham. Ah, it's a type of car. So Caterham Cars is a British manufacturer of specialist lightweight sports cars established in Caterham, England, with their headquarters in Dartford, England. Okay, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Okay. You know what? I love when people are passionate about something, when they have a hobby. And this is one of the things that I'm always harping on to my clients, that you want to think about something that just gives you that fire in your belly, something that really ignites your interest. If you think about it, because people are like, oh my God, I'm too old, I'm this or that. I'm like, no, stop with those excuses, because if you really think about it, Colonel Sanders, your KFC example, he didn't start his business until he was in 60s. right? Martha Stewart is now in her late 80s and she's still at it. She's still cooking and doing things and having shows and podcasts and all that stuff. What is stopping you from doing something fun? I really think that the amount of technology in the social media that we have today, you can get a business or a hobby or something up and running literally in the matter of hours. 100%, no doubt about it. How do I know? Because I've done that with family members. I have done that. I've seen it happen. Instagram to the rescue, and the person was up and running. So, yes, I know exactly you can do that. So, what is your hobby, and what is that is really igniting that belly and the passion in that belly? Retired in Arizona. I bought everything I need to retire before I retired. This is the way. You know what? It's not actually a bad concept. One of the things that we talk about, people were like, okay, well, should I pay off my mortgage? Should I get rid of all my debt before I retire? And my answer to that is, well, let's look at the bigger picture. What do you have now, and what do you anticipate happening and seeing once you do retire? Because once you retire, things really change, right? And a lot of times change is good. But what's changing is that you now have fixed income and you have expenses. The way to control that really, really well is be very clear about your expenses and every year evaluate them and control them, because you are now on a fixed income. And the change that is that you do not have a paycheck that is coming in. You are not contributing to your retirement fund anymore. You actually taking the money out of that fund. And that is the change in thinking that a lot of people are struggling with and having a hard time with. And this is where we talk about doing it slowly. Just doing it slowly, because you can still have a part-time job. You can still have the income and the check coming in. And that job can be amazing. It can be something truly fun. So the conversation is, what is it that you would like to buy and doesn't make sense to buy before you retire? But in order for you to do that, you need to have that one-page spreadsheet in front of you. And I can show you the one that I share with everybody, just so you have a clear understanding of what the money is going to be coming in versus what the money is going to be coming out. What is that pool of retirement funds that you're working with? It doesn't have to be anything complicated. So, but I actually like that thinking. So Maddie B says the ability to snowbird in an RV, maybe getting a house or an RV lot in Florida. I love that. Look, we have another RVer that is in the house right now that is really enjoying that. There are RV parks in Florida. I've seen them when I'm visiting, and I'm in Florida quite a lot. Why not? You are in the nature. You just have to plug in, and yet it's almost like being a turtle. The house comes with you everywhere you go. So I love the idea. I love the fact that people are planning and kind of looking at it that way. All right, what else do we have? Exavacetin something in Texas. 61 male retiring in 2025. Tractor with the brush hog and maybe a wood-fired hot tub. Ooh. Okay, so tractor with the brush hog is very specific. Do you guys know what that is? Okay, this is another one that I have to look up. What is a tractor with brush hog? Okay, so it's like a utility tractor. Okay, this is very specific, but I love the fact that he has a specific machinery in mind. So I love that. Okay, and then a wood-fired hot tub. Hey, hot tub is amazing. It's actually part of functional medicine, where you use the water to help you and heal, and it's also anti-inflammatory. But a wood-fired hot tub, that is definitely different. I love how specific this is. So extra special in Texas is how I'm going to call it. I love you being specific, and thank you for contributing. So keep on going and figure out how to make those plans happen, because these tractors are not cheap. So figure out the budget, figure out what you need, and then put a plan of action in play. Adjust Just a Good Guy 111. If all goes well, on Monday, December 16th, 5 days from today and counting, the healthcare company that I own would close its sale, and I will join you guys in retirement. Looking forward to buying a lake house in Wisconsin, a boat, and adding a dog and a cat. We'll see the kids on weekends at the lake and sleep past 5:30 a.m. unless I am doing some very early fishing. I love that too. Lake, Wisconsin, boat, a dog and a cat. Hey, I'm a cat mom here, so I'm totally all for it. And seeing your kids and hopefully grandkids. I love that because that is just something amazing to look forward to. And of course, sleeping in or getting up, whatever makes sense for you. All right. And Sherry says, I'm retiring in 2 weeks. Yay. I'm looking forward to buying a few cruises for 2025. Good for you. Good for you. I'm very happy to hear that. Okay. So I want to spend a little bit of time helping you guys do some thinking because you are hearing all over the place, because that's what happens during the month of December. The big buzzword is the New Year's resolutions. What are you doing? What are you going to accomplish? I want you to stop thinking about the word resolutions, and I want you to think about possibilities. And this is what I encourage you to do. I'm going to share this document with you now on the screen, and then I'm going to link it under this video when we're done, probably tomorrow, so that way you can download it and print it. Every person in my database, my clients, my partners that I work with are getting this in their holiday letters as homework. Yes, I do give out homework. And this is what this looks like. Not complicated. Let me see if I can pull it up on, let's see, share my screen. Okay, I'm going to share a window. All right, here we go. I think you should be able to see that. Okay, so this is a Word or a Google Doc. That's all it is. And it's called 25 in 2025 list. So the whole concept I actually borrowed from one of my favorite podcasts. Her name is Gretchen Rubin, and she has a podcast called Happier. I actually read quite a few of her books. I love the way she writes. And it's all about positivity and experiences and doing something cool with this thing we call life. So she actually came up with the idea of doing so many things in the year. So this is why it's 25 things in year 2025. And the goal here is not to make sure that you get 25 things accomplished, absolutely hardcore resolutions and all to get them all done. Because as you know, majority of the people don't, because they're like resolution. And if I'm going to go to the gym every day, you get it so, you overthink it so much. And the best way to do this is baby steps, small steps from the beginning. So the way I want you to look at it is this: instead of making New Year's resolutions, consider creating this list for the upcoming year. These items can be easy, ambitious, one time, or a new habit. I just want you to think about how you want the new year to unfold. It can be, I want to try something. I want to do something. I'm going to consider something. Or it's a maybe. And you put these items on this list. So you'll see there's a line for 25 things on this one pager. It really is a one pager. I ended up printing it actually when I'm putting it in my mail on a yellow sheet of paper. Let me show you. So mine is on a yellow sheet of paper. Let me just get rid of this. Okay. And it's literally just yellow. Here's my list. And the reason why it's yellow is so that way you can actually see it clearly when you hang it on the wall. And I'm having a lot of fun doing this for the last couple of years. I gave this to everybody in my family. And the goal is when you hang it somewhere where you can see it clearly. I have it in the bathroom and I have it by the front door. When you get up in the morning, it's the first thing that you see. When you head out of the house, it is the last thing that you see. And then when you come home, it's the first thing that you see, because you really do need to remind yourself of the amazing things. Now, you can split this up and do different categories, right? So you have 25, so you have almost 26 things. So you can really split it up and have maybe 3 of this and 4 of that and all different things. You can make it into different categories, things that you want to accomplish personally, your own interests. You can do it with, I want to do some things with the family. You can also make it, if you have a business, you can do that as a business owner. You can also do the same thing for your work. You can split it up any way you want. And you can also include, maybe you want to do something for the community. You want to do volunteering, you want to do community service, whatever it is that makes you happy. But the idea here is that if you want to try something, put it on the list. And when you do get it accomplished, make sure that you actually, where's that? Right here. You check it off. You check it off. So this is my suggestion for you as part of your homework. If you would like me to mail your copy, I am always game to do that. Please reach out to me and I will get that over to you. Otherwise, I'm going to link this in the show notes under this video tomorrow. So that's one. The second thing that I want you to really think about is whether you are already retired or you are still thinking and you're making your plans. One of the easiest things to do for yourself, do yourself a favor, to ease your mind, to ease your anxiety, to help you with your planning, is use a good budgeting sheet. It's a spreadsheet. It's very easy to figure out. Let me pull up the one that I use and I share with people. Let me see what I have, my spreadsheet. Here you go. Let me share this one with you. And I'm going to show this to you. And I've shown this before. And I just want to show you this one more time. And then I'm going to link it again. So it's a monthly budget. Very easy to do. And it's tracking of your expenses and your income. So think about the things that you have on the regular basis, and maybe you may want to do another column of the expenses that you're anticipating when you're retired. What is that going to look like? Put down everything. And the way, of course, to do that is you're going to have to look at your expenses now and actually track and also see how these things change from month to month. When you are making plans for next year, I also encourage you to see if there's anything that you can adjust, reduce, to then create more income for yourself. So as an example, can't do anything with property taxes. They increase every year, right? With transportation, you can potentially renegotiate and see if you can get a better rate on your auto insurance or on your homeowner's insurance. I am a big believer in renegotiating and shopping around every year. I know it's a pain in the butt. I do. I dread it every year, yet it is a reminder on my calendar because I want to make sure that I'm in control. Personal, pets, for example, if you do not have insurance for your pet, you may have more expenses coming up. Doesn't make sense maybe to get pet insurance so that way you can reduce your expenses. Utilities, you absolutely can call your cable provider if you still have one, or maybe even a cell phone provider, and you can ask them, hey, do you have any specials that are running right now that I could take advantage of? Your internet provider, I call Comcast on a regular basis and say, hey, what do you have? I need to get my bill reduced. What do you have in terms of specials, even if it's just for a few months? So write it all out, make it more specific. Don't just say utilities, actually break it down. If you have electric, if you have gas, if you have oil, if you have something else, make sure that you itemize that on here. Don't forget to also budget for fun. Especially if you're just newly retired, you probably have heard of the terminology called the go-go years, which is when you are the most active and you really want to take advantage of the fact that you don't have to work anymore. You are now retired and you want to explore all these things that have been on your list, and you're just looking forward to doing that. And remember, all the fun costs money. So don't forget to actually add the costs that are associated with all the fun things that you want to do, whether it's travel, whether it's pursuing your hobby, whether it's opening up a business, or maybe, taking a class or something that is of interest to you. All those things do cost money. If you still have debt, this is where I am strongly going to encourage you to review the interest rate that you're paying on your debt. If you have credit card debt, oh my God, that is the worst. If you look at those interest rates that you're paying, they're probably going to make you be sick, because they are 20, 25% or even higher. That is the type of debt that I always recommend that you tackle first, because even if people are upset over the fact that the mortgage rates are 7%, yet you're paying 25% interest on your credit cards, I really want you to rethink on how you are thinking about which debt is better than other. And you won't know that until you actually look at your bills and you look at that interest rate, that APR, and you actually see exactly what you're paying. And of course, this is where I would put it. I would put it all in this spreadsheet, because you have a summary, you have transactions. If you want, you can create more tabs and you can break it down to something else. Maybe you want to continue saving money. You can put it all in here. Right? So this is your custom category. You can just keep on going. You can add 1,000 more rows if you want to. Don't recommend it, because at some point it's just too much. Okay. And then of course you also have your income, everything, your savings, your part-time job, your full-time job. If you already are drawing Social Security, if you are taking money from your individual retirement accounts, if you have something else that's going on, you have life insurance or something else. And of course you can also create some custom categories as well. So my suggestion to you is you do that. And then you will really be able to get a hold of and get an idea on what it looks like right now. And it gives you that bird's eye view all in one document on one page on what you want to do and what you can do next year to help yourself and to make those plans. So between now and the New Year's, I really want you to think about that 25 and 25 list. Decide on some fun things to do. And you know what? It doesn't always have to be fun, because we have to make some hard decisions and we have to do things that we don't want to do. Then put them on that list. If you want, put them on the top, because the sooner you get them done, the sooner then you can go on to the other ones that are on your list that maybe are way funner than those other things that are things that you are forced and you have to do. So this is what I wanted to focus on today. We have a couple of weeks before the holidays. And when you are done eating and enjoying time with your family, grab this sheet of paper and jot some thoughts down. And if you're not sure, it's probably going to take you maybe a couple of days to actually fill this. Don't feel like you have to. Or you can even put stuff in pencil and say, well, I don't know, but it kind of sounds interesting. So trust your gut and trust your instinct to just jot things down. And if you're not sure, guess what? You have a back of this page that's completely blank, and you can do that as well. So I encourage you guys to take your time to make those plans. The other thing that you can do is you can actually modify this list called 24 and 24. And then take a look back at how the year has gone. What have you accomplished in 2024 that was amazing? That's something, maybe fun things that you have tried, maybe interesting events that took place, the vacations that you went on, accomplishments that you have made, maybe your family members have done something, because that is going to be your ta-da list. Right? So you're going to have your 25 and 25 list on this side. And if you want, you're going to have your 24 ta-da list. That is the list for you to look back and think about all the positive things that took place to show you what an amazing year that you have just had. So those are the things that I'm asking you to focus on. And I want to end today with a reflection on just that I am grateful to all of you. This has been an amazing year since I have started this journey on YouTube of sharing my thoughts about retirement, about housing market, how I look at things, sharing my perspective based on my 15 years in the real estate industry. And it's been a really, really cool journey. I can tell you that with the amount of research that I have done, the information that I have put out there, I have grown so much. My lessons have been amazing. And I just want to share with you a couple of thoughts that I have sent to my clients just as just a little bit on just to wrap up the year. So here's what I have said, and I'm sharing this with you. So I'm going to read it from my holiday letter. As we reflect on the journey of 2024, we are reminded of the moments that brought us joy, the lessons that shaped us, and the connections that carried us through. This year has been a tapestry of growth, events, and cherished memories with colleagues, friends, and family. Whether through small victories or grand milestones, it is the collective warmth of those around us that has made this year so meaningful. We are truly grateful for the opportunity to celebrate together and for the resilience shared during life's challenges. As 2025 approaches, let's embrace the new year with hope and excitement. May it be a season filled with health, happiness, and the pursuit of dreams waiting to unfold. I wish you and your loved ones ended blessings, meaningful adventures, and the comfort of knowing that you are deeply, truly appreciated. Here's to another epic year, continued growth, and all the beauty a fresh chapter has to offer. Many cheers to you and to the possibilities of the year ahead. Yours in the journey onward, Olga St. Pierre. So that's what I want to leave you with as well today. Thank you so much for being with me. I'm probably not going to see you again until the new year, but I would love to hear from you. You can always reach me here with the comments or reach me directly. My contact information is always posted at the bottom of each video. So thank you so much for being here. I wish you the most amazing, happy, and healthy holidays, and I will probably see you in the new year. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye-bye.